Hello out there. In the past, I've talked about the dangers of hard drives and losing your data and how easy it is. And I've discussed the internal workings, but since a picture or video is worth 1,000 words, I thought today I would actually show you what's going on inside of a hard drive when it's being read and what happens when you jostle it about. So I have here an older Seagate hard drive. It's a 20 gigabyte model that I think I previously wiped off of customer data. It's a model ST320413A. It is a 5400 RPM drive, so it's actually a relatively slow drive. And I'm going to take it apart, and hopefully it still runs once I've taken it apart. And I'll show you the insides and how they work with each other. So this particular drive is, I believe, let's see, what's the date code? 2001-52, so it's 2014 now, coming up to 2015. This is a 13-plus year old drive, and I'm going to proceed to take it apart. Something I've always liked doing with electronics since I was a little kid. So this one is going to hopefully be fairly easy. It looks like it has a couple of Torx screws, and it might have something hidden underneath this plate or underneath here. So I'm just going to start in on it, and you need a Torx bit for this particular drive. And I've got my screwdriver here. So we're just going to start taking screws out, and hopefully it'll pop right open. Oh, it also looks like it has a seal around the outer edge. By the way, if you're planning on saving any data off of a drive, don't do this. This is a very destructive operation. I wrote an article on pulling out the magnets from one of these drives, which was kind of cool because I love these little magnets that are in there. They're actually not quite, they're not little, they're very, very powerful. And you can pick up 10, 15, 20 some odd pounds worth of stuff with them. So this one has one of those little protector stickers and another screw underneath it. We'll get that one out. I'm going to feel if I can push down anywhere over here and find any other interesting screws. This is actually a solid metal plate, so there's nothing there. There's probably something under here. So, where's my knife? Let's cut this out and see what's going on in there, if anything. And by the way, this will void your warranty, if you had a warranty on the drive. No, I don't think there's anything under here. Interesting, it went right down. But let's try pulling that up just because. Nope. There's a mirror under there. Oh, this might be where the head can move and they can do some alignment on it before they seal it up. So, given all that, now there's this outer rim we need to peel off or cut out somehow. Let's see if I can just peel it off easy. If not, I've got my handy-dandy X-Acto knife. Oh, look at that. This is going to be hopefully easy. If you were trying to repair this, you'd be doing this in a clean room, and you'd have documentation that tells you all the things you have to do to take it apart cleanly. And the manufacturers certainly do this, and there's a lot of drive repair houses that do this, but in my case, we don't care about the data. We're not trying to repair it. We're trying to show how it works inside. So, drum roll please. Let's see if this lid will come right off. Oh, look at that. Sexy. Okay, so for those of you who've never seen one of these before, this is the hard drive platter itself. This is where your data is stored. This is the read-write head. This thing is going to spin around. There's a giant magnet over here, which is what's used to move that head in and out, because this pivots. And that's all the juicy bits here. So let's plug it in and see if it actually spins now that I've taken it apart. Got a power cable here. You ready? Oh, look at that. can see the head bopping around. Awesome. Okay, so what happens is there's a very, very small distance, less than the width of a human hair, between that head and this platter below it. And when you take and put your, let's say your laptop computer down while it's running, you put it down on a surface and you maybe put it down a little funky. Did you see how that head recalibrated itself? So what you're doing there is potentially making that head, because it's floating, it might touch the surface of that disk. And if it touches the surface of that disk, you're probably going to lose some data because it's going to make a little scratch. And every time you do that, you're going to potentially lose a little bit more data and have an area of the disk that's not read-writable. And eventually, your system won't boot. Now, there's all kinds of mitigations for that. I'm trying to make it fail here. I'm being deliberately harsh with it. There's ways that the drive tries to compensate for that. It has extra sectors that it tries to move the data to from the bad sector to the good sector. But once data is damaged and it can't read it, it's gone. So just for fun, I'm going to try to plug this in here and see if we can actually make it do something on a PC, and you can see it skipping around. So here's a little dongle for reading and writing drives, external drive or internal drives on an external system. It's got a USB connector on it, and somewhere here I have a USB cable. So we're going to plug this in here and plug this into the system. There. Normally you do all this with power off, but like I said, I don't care about this drive, so if it blows up, and so be it. So it's powering on, and it's hopefully going to recognize, and the head's going to seek around, and oh, look at that. All over the place. You can hear it. Well, I can hear it. I don't know if you can hear it. And there's our hard drive operating live. So I did some math just for fun. This disk is a 3.5-inch disk. There are smaller disks inside of your notebook computers. I've got one taken apart here. This is a 2.5-inch disk. Now, this is a 5,900 RPM drive, so this thing is rotating 5,900 revolutions per minute, which is pretty darn fast. And if you were to take and put this on its edge and let it drive along the road as fast as this is going right now. I'm sorry, this is 5,400, not 5,900. So at 5,400 RPMs, this disk, if it was traveling on the road, because it had a little, let's put a little piece of rubber on there so it could actually grab the road, how fast do you think this drive would travel? And the answer is this drive would be going over 60 miles an hour. Oh my God, it actually came up. It's searching for content. That is hysterical. So I'm going to open up a folder to view the files, and I'm going to copy a file off of it, just because. Let's see what happens. So now I'm reading a file off of it. Look at that. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and it's discovering and copying and reading and doing all kinds of stuff to the disk. So, this particular drive is a slow one. This would only be going 60 miles an hour. There are drives that travel faster than that. If this was a 7,200 RPM drive, like this other one is, this is another drive that I took apart, this one's 7,200 RPMs, this drive would be traveling at 80 miles an hour. And if it was one of the Enterprise class 15K RPM drives, it would be going 167 miles an hour. So this is why, while a drive is doing its work, especially, you don't want to be jostling it around. You don't want to take it, put your notebook computer down a little hard, bam. What you've just done is you deleted some of your data, you've maybe made that head touch the platter, and things are no longer good. So there you have it. You've seen the insides of a drive. By the way, these little guys, this is from a notebook, and this one would be going somewhere between 40 and 111 miles an hour if it was running and we put it down on the ground and let it go zoom along the road. I was putting everything away and I saw something and figured I have to talk about this as well. If you take the drive and turn it on its side, and look down. And I'm going to see if I can get it so you can actually see this. There are places to put more heads and more platters. You can actually have more of these discs in a drive than is in this one. If I bring it up to the camera really close and turn it just right, you can see in there those lines are where another head could be attached and you'd put a platter in between them. This drive is available in a 20, 30, or a 40 gig flavor. So in order to make this a 30 gig drive, they put another platter on and one more head. And if they put in another platter and two more heads, one for each side, it can go up to 40 gig. So this is kind of how they make a single product and can have many different flavors of it. 10, 20, 30, 40, whatever. All they have to do is keep stacking more platters on and put more heads on. So that's it for this video. Go ahead and click on the link below, subscribe, and hopefully you'll get to see more interesting videos in the future. Thanks. Bye.